Hey, how's it going, everyone? Sure is in here. I hope you're having a great day. Sorry if I still don't sound that great, and I'm still sick and I have the sniffles, so I'm sorry. Um, just wanted to say thank you. One of my latest videos I just uploaded, did very well. I believe right now it just hit about 300 views, and that is just like so cool to me. Like my friend texted me, he's like, dude, your video did blew up, and I'm like, what? Like I like checked it that morning and it was like, okay, like 8 views or something like that. And then later in the afternoon he texted me and I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like at like 350 views. Like that is awesome, dude. It is so cool. So thank you. Um that is just so cool. I got like 16 new subscribers, so that's, just so cool. Have some new people checking out the videos, and hopefully I'm doing something right and making their day better. Again, it's not about views or, amount of subscribers, anything like that. I'm just trying to do something cool to help people. But something I've been thinking about uh for a couple of weeks now, in all honesty, was just in my opinion, right? How I think growing up in like the early 2000s, uh what my idea of what life would look like now and what like reality is just like totally different. I think like the early 2000s was like life at like its finest, like it peaked, you know and like, what do I mean by that? It just, like, looking back at like, school yearbooks and stuff from, kids that were in the early 2000s, that were older than me, thinking like, oh, like, as I get older, I'm gonna look like one of these guys. Like, I know that's not how it works, but like, kind of like an idea of like what it would like to be their age. What are they doing and what am I going to be doing when I get to their age, like a teenager or something, as I'm like, like 8, in like elementary school or something like that. Um, and I don't know. I love watching like old TV shows and movies from like the late 90s, like late 1990s, and the early 2000s. And it just seemed like in my opinion, I remember people just looking like happier, you know? And I understand the world has changed in a lot of ways since then, and that's, to be expected. There's always going to be new developments and ideas and stuff like that, and things are, the only thing promised in life is, change, really. um but yeah, like everybody seemed more unique, more like confident and comfortable in themselves. It seemed like everybody lived in the moment. And this is like I said, like based on what I remember as a kid, you know, and from what like uh movies and TV shows kind of depicted like life to be like for, kids growing up then. I gotta get some food going somehow, some way. Awesome. I gotta get some seeds first. Goodness. But like, does that make sense? Like, it's like I feel like I had it so good growing up as a kid. Like, you know, like yeah, there was like technology, not the kind of technology that exists today, but like so many things like were just seem like so much cooler back then. Like my mom had like a BlackBerry, which was like the most capable like smartphone out there at the time. you know, like a little phone. It had a little bitty screen, like a screen from like a Game Boy, you know, nothing fancy, nothing special, and like a keyboard on it, like a little itty bitty keyboard that was like impossible to type on, and it had like a stylus like in the phone that you would like pull out to touch the screen with, like a DS, you know, as it was like literally like a Nintendo DS for like adults, and that was like the peak phone, like the best that was available at the time, you know, before iPhones, right? This was before like Apple had just came out with like the iPod, you know, and that's just so crazy to me. Like when you wanted to do something, enjoy something like music, for example, you had to like buy it, find a way to like get that onto an iPod. You had to have a MP3 player, you know, a music streaming device, music player. And like now, like I just feel like everyone's like kind of spoiled, you know. Like I want to hear something for the first time, dude. I got it on my phone, like Spotify, like right there, right then and there. You know, it takes away kind of like the lust, the wonder out there, you know. And I think like something that I took for granted growing up was how raw like interactions felt. You know, like when I was watching like waiting for like the new Saturday morning cartoon to come out, and I wanted to go talk to my friends about it Monday morning at school. I had to wait. I had to hold that excitement in all weekend long, you know. And then Monday morning rolls around, and the first thing you do is run and find your friends, and now it's like you're just texting. For example, you know, I don't really know. I don't, you know, but you know, it takes away some of that. Like, or you go actually like meet up and hang out after school. You know, it's like no FaceTime. You know, um, so like hanging out with people was like, I don't mean this in a bad way, but it was more effort. It was more meaningful. There was more like, you know, planning, and it just seems like, I don't know. Again, like because I was like growing up where I grew up and stuff, and like just like my personality kind of fits like that easygoing, like surfer, you know, go with the flow kind of vibes and stuff. Um, yeah, I think growing up, everybody thought I was gonna be like a surfer, and I wish, dude, I would love to surf, but that's besides the point. That's totally irrelevant. But like, no, like it just seemed like everybody was so much more like easygoing, you know. Um, and I don't know any studies about anything. If you know, I'm not trying to make any claims, but yeah, I kind of wish like I wonder what life would look like if like the technology we had in the 2000s kind of not didn't progress, but progressed within like with that same like feeling, you know, like the kind of old school feeling, you know. Like I've seen like you hear those stories like what would society be like if, you know, uh we were, you know, we relied on steam power or, you know, something like that. I'm like, okay, what if we relied on like early 2000s vibes, you know? And this is just meant to be kind of like a laid back video, but yeah, I hate having a smartphone. I feel like getting a smartphone when I was like 12, so like pretty much a teenager. No, I think I was 13. Uh Kind of like immediately started to deprive me of like experiences, you know. I had an iPod and stuff like that. It was cool and I loved it, but I wish I was like a teenager living those early 2000s, like living my life in the early 2000s, being 16 in like 2002 or something, you know. Um, you know, not being like 7 or whatever, you know. You know. Does that make sense? Am I crazy? I just like, yeah, just looking back in like pictures, watching like reality shows and stuff, um, like sitcoms and stuff, and just everybody seems so much more happier and more patient. You know, I think having like that technology right at your fingertips like spoils you, and you know, like what, like what I don't know how the saying goes or whatever, but it's like, yeah, like your iPhone in your pocket that you're probably watching this video on. is more, complex and capable than the computer that was used to put like to land like the first moon launch or whatever. How crazy is that? You know? And I'm sitting here using it to play video games, Uh I miss hangout spots, like coffee shops back then. Like it's kind of progressed into like there's like a lot of coffee shops in my city, and they're all kind of like those hipster like wannabe like hipster cafes like they used to be in the early 2000s, where they cram like four desks in there and everybody sits at there working on like their laptop and stuff and drinking their coffee. It was like no, like it used to be like coffee houses. Like I remember living in like a bigger city that was known for having like these kind of oh my goodness. Oh, I swear, dude. Oh, skeletons got so much hard. Oh yeah, there's another one. I'm out of here. Yeah, like I lived in a big city at a really young age, so I don't remember much of it. But I do remember like waiting for my mom to get done from work and hanging out with like my dad and my brother at like a local coffee shop. And it was just a huge area. Like it had like a couple computers. It was like a really really like cool place to hang out. And you just see less and less of those things, but people still wanting that feeling. Um, yeah. Again, sorry, I'm sick, so I kind of got the sniffles. I'm trying my best to mitigate it and hide it, but I do apologize. And like I don't know, skating, was super big back then, and whatnot, and like hanging out at like the skate park or something. My town has a skate park, and no, I can assure you that nobody ever hung out there. Like it was something that was like skate parks were always something that was like new and like well kept. I feel like. I miss the feeling of being excited and waiting for that Saturday morning cartoon to come on. But now it's like, oh, I just can watch it, and I can watch the whole season from day one on my phone. Again, like having like we've been spoiled with it, we've lost our patience. Uh, you know, you need to make a phone call. No, it's like right in your pocket. You want to stream your music? It's right in your pocket. Maps, directions, everything. It's so handy. I don't think I would survive without it. And I hate that. I miss having like I said, just that feeling of like I want to listen to my music. Boom, I got my iPod right here. I want to play my game. Boom, let me pull out the Game Boy. Let me pull out the DS. I want to play a game with my friends. Dude, I got to pull out like a cable and plug it into their console or whatever. Like you want to play multiplayer, you got to bring your own controller, play at their house, split screen. And, online it's so cool. It's really, really cool. Don't get me wrong. I love playing games online with my friends uh, in the comfort of, my bedroom and stuff. But nothing beats that feeling when you're, playing split screen co-op, games with your friends. Nothing beats that. Like I remember like new songs would get released on like a Friday or something, and everybody would like rush home to download it and listen to it, you know, or like you go to like your like middle school dances and stuff, and you bring in like a list of your favorite songs, and then like you're downloading them on your computer the next day or something like that. It's so different. I wonder what life would be like if we, you know, didn't have access to everything on one device. I think the friendships would be better. I think they'd be more well thought. I kind of go back and forth with my friends where like how I see them a lot. Like everybody's really engaged, but I ask my friends to hang out. They're never they're never the ones asking me to hang out. Or if they are, it's because they want to do something very specific that I don't enjoy doing, you know, so it's really hard for me to want to go. But yeah, like I miss my friends and stuff, but it's always like on their terms, you know. I'm like, hey, do you guys want to just like hang out, catch up? We can do anything you want. Like the door to my place is open. Like just come by, you know, we can go from there. Like, you know, like you ever miss hanging out with your friends and just like meeting up at a place and having just no plans? You just kind of see where the day takes you and stuff. And now I feel like every time I want to hang out with my friends, I have to have like an itinerary, an agenda, you know. And it's cool. Like I'm older, I'm busier, you know, or my life has changed from when I was a kid, you know, responsibility and stuff. I'm not saying that. But again, I just feel like when you want to hang out with your friends in like back in the day in the early 2000s, you just met up and would do something and just see where the day would take you. I do miss living in like a bigger city where, you know, you're reliant on public transportation, you know. I also miss the days where like the nicest car you could get was like, you know, like peak technology was like a 2005 Honda Accord or something like that, you know. And it's just crazy. Like everything was simpler, you know. Like, and I guess like a lot of people like minimalism. I do too. Don't get me wrong. I'm a very minimalistic person. Like I like keeping things simple and, you know, down to like my necessities. But it's like again, you can still have things simple on multiple devices. I feel like when everybody says like, "Yeah, I'm a minimalist," you know, they just pull up their MacBook or something. Like, you know, I don't know. I'm just old school. Like when I come up with video ideas, like I have a notebook I keep right next to me right now. It's like touching my arm because it's so close to me. I'm like next to my keyboard where I keep like all my video ideas. I write down like thoughts for stuff where I want to like, oh, like, you know, I had this thought today. And then when that thought pops back in my head, I'll write down other thoughts I had about it until I have enough to where it's like, yeah, I've given this enough thought. Like this could be like a video topic. This guy again. Also, dude, when did the mobs get so hard? Like, is that just me? I feel like these guys got crazy hard. Oh, farming. Yeah, I gotta get some crops going. You know, and like gaming was so much simpler. Like, you know, staying up late playing, you know, Pokemon Gold on the Game Boy, or, you know, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Platinum, Pearl, Diamond, Ruby, Emerald. First game I got was Pokemon Gold, and just staying up late at night using like a lamp as your light, so you could play at night, like after your parents told you to go to bed, you know. Like, do kids have bedtimes anymore these days? Like, I don't know how it works. Or even so, I remember being in like high school or something, and there would be like kids I would be teaching, and they're like, they would go to bed later than I would, and I'm like, how? What? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like everything was just so much more raw then, and I think we've kind of lost that touch, that feeling, you know. I hope that's okay to say. Again, I don't mean it in a bad way at all. I'm just coming from it. So like growing up, I'm like, great, I'm finally at like the age I, you know, thought peak life would be at, like 16, you know. And man, is just and not what I expected. Not in a bad way, you know, but just how crazy you know, society has changed, how far things have come and gone, you know. And I miss that. Like I said, like when YouTube first became a thing, like I was around for that. That first video that popped up, and then watching the platform turn into what it is over the years. Like I'm sure there are people out there that just see YouTube as a place for like tutorials or something like that, you know? This is a bad spot. Or a place where they get to watch their favorite, you know, gamers or something like that. Like that is really, really cool. Do not get me wrong. But like it was a platform. It was like a video sharing platform to share like, you know, whatever you wanted on the internet, like chat rooms. Dude, those were cool. And now like it's kind of progressed into like a comment section on a YouTube video or something like that, you know? Um but just in general, Like everything was so much more simpler. Like you want to do this, boom, here's the solution. I feel like, or you had to wait for the solution to, you know, get invented. Now I feel like everything most people need for their day-to-day life already exists. Like where's that wonder and drive for discovering and chasing and inventing new things? I feel like that's gone personally, you know? Like when was the last, like I remember like in school having to get like the new versions of textbooks. Like, oh, 2008 just rolled around. They just dropped a new textbook version. You know, like and then like I remember getting to high school, like some books hadn't been updated, like a new version or print. I don't know what the correct term is. Since like 2009. So it was like kids these days are like, oh man, this book is so old, you know, or even old books that like my school had that like to read in, you know, like paperback books. When was the last time you read a paperback book? You know, like I didn't just pull out my Kindle or my iPhone to read something, you know. Like I had to go to the library, and that was such a cool place. Like libraries, I remember my school got rid of their library, and that's when I was like, man, society, like what is my future gonna look like? Like they're getting rid of books. That's what it felt like, you know. Um, just it's just crazy to think back, and you know, not that I'm not happy with life right now. It's just like again, I feel spoiled. I feel like I've had a lot of things like as time has gone on, I feel like I've had a lot of things like opportunities like taken from me, like that wonder, like that feeling, like just the spoil, like being spoiled. You know, I don't think this video is gonna make much sense. It was kind of just like a topic, like a discussion. You know, a little different than like trying to be motivating. But does anybody else feel that way? Um, I know I'm not the only one out there. My favorite show I like watching right now is from I think 2001 or 2002 when it came out. It's called the OC, the OC. Yeah, it's about like, you know, rich kids living in Orange County, Southern California and stuff, you know. And just seeing like all the cool stuff they do, like they're just teenagers hanging out. So watching that, I'm like, this is what I'm going to be like when I'm a teenager, wanting to hang out with my friends, you know. And I feel like I'm getting kind of repetitive at this point, but I'm trying to think of what else. When the holidays rolled around, you know, and your class would do those like the Christmas party and stuff like that, and snow days and stuff like that. Like where has that feeling gone? You know, like holidays in the early 2000s hasn't been the same since. You know. So it's not like, you know, October's coming to an end so quickly. Oh my goodness. You know, and then I feel like as soon as Halloween is over, the end of October, I'll say, is immediately like Thanksgiving, Christmas, you know, it's like holiday season again, you know? And I feel like I remember exactly what I was doing a year ago. I feel like my life was completely different a year ago, just finishing up school and what I was doing at the time, you know? And I can look back on what I was doing a year ago and be like, yeah, it's crazy that this year is already coming to an end. So it's just, I don't know. Holidays just don't feel the same like they used to. Like they hit different back in my day. Okay. I loved as a kid watching like 90s cartoons and stuff like that. One of my favorites was like called Static Shock and stuff, and it was like that was like classic, like a classic 90s cartoon. I'm like, this is what life is gonna be like when I'm, you know, older. And it's just, I don't know, so different. I'm literally at a loss for words, like putting like thoughts in my head out into like, you know, articulating them. So crazy. And I know like in one of my last videos I was talking about like if I could go back to when I was a little kid, just relive those moments, not change anything, I absolutely would. I think times were better back then. and I'm thankful for everything I have now. But if I just go back in time, be my age, but be in like 2003 right now, that would be cool. That would be cool. You know, that's just me, you know. I probably sound like so stupid. I didn't even get a lot done in this video. I'm gonna tear up all this farmland, I think, but put a little house right here would be cool. But yeah, I don't know. Hopefully I'm not alone feeling this way. Anybody else miss what their childhood feel like and wish they could just be an adult back in the days of when they were a kid, whatever year and time period that might be. But yeah, just everybody seems so much happier, so much more like unique and energetic and passionate. And like it was okay to like not have everything in their life figured out, versus now I feel like society makes me feel like I don't know, like I don't know what I'm doing with my life right now, and I feel bad. Like society makes me feel kind of bad for it and like looked down upon, you know. Just a different time, man. It's, you know, 10, 15, 20 years ago isn't even that long of a time in the grand scheme of things, you know. But I think that's enough of my rambling and my thoughts. Thank you so much if you decided to listen to any of this or watch this, be a part of this conversation. I appreciate you being here, and I hope you have a great day. I hope you make tomorrow an even better day. And yeah, just thank you so much for being here, and I'll catch you later.